Bear Grylls took his love of the planet to new political heights this month. He swapped his cargo trousers for a suit and he rubbed shoulders with world leaders as he helped host the COP28 climate summit in Dubai.
And the adventure shows no sign of slowing down. He's preparing to head out on tour next year. Bear Grylls joins us now. Good morning to you.
Hey,
Thanks
guys.
for joining us. So tell me about this tour then, because I'm fascinated. You're sort of going to be sharing survival trips, but the things that you do are quite extreme. So when people are watching, you know, what kind of advice are you going to be able to give them that will help them on a day-to-day basis?
Well, it's called the Never Give Up Tour.
Right.
I haven't done one of these for a while, so this will be fun.
You mean you gave up?
Yeah. Only doing 7 nights next April, all across the country. But I don't know, I get asked all the time by people and by kids and families about, you know, what's it like to get bitten by a snake or have a parachute fail or stand on the top of Everest or, you know, go through selection for 21 SAS, all these sort of questions. Yeah. And so we put it all together. But the idea is ultimately that it's a really fun, uplifting, empowering show for people at a time where life doesn't always feel quite like that.
It's about overcoming the odds, isn't it? It's about powering through.
So having that resilience, which I suppose does transfer, doesn't it, to a day-to-day basis? If you've got tough situations, how do you mentally get through those? Yeah,
I think so. There's such a strong link, isn't there, to surviving a jungle and surviving life, you know. So it's all the stories, it's all the behind the scenes, it's all the, you know, we might get some kids up on stage to eat some maggots and start some fire.
Nice.
We might. But ultimately it's meant to be fun and uplifting.
Well, I've got to ask you, just referring to what you said there, what is it like to have a parachute fail?
Because it did happen to you, didn't it?
Yeah, that was a bad time. That was what I was...
What goes through your mind? You pull the ripcord and nothing happens.
Yeah, that was a difficult time. I ended up breaking my back in 3 places. I was in Africa at the time, spent months back in military rehabilitation in the UK afterwards.
Sorry, can we just freeze the moment? What goes through a man's or a woman's mind when they've jumped out of a plane, full of confidence and gung-ho, they pull the ripcord and nothing happens, and you carry on hurtling to the ground? What goes through your mind?
I think at the time you're just desperately trying to sort it out. It was getting dark. You're just in a sort of fuzz of what's wrong, can I sort this, have I got time to go for this reserve in time? And then, you know, in a heartbeat, boom, you know, my world sort of went black and came to a long journey back to eventually to this African hospital. And I remember this doctor sticking the syringe in my back and suddenly the pain going and me just thinking, I'm better, trying to get up. And then they were going, you're not better.
No. So your life doesn't flash before you?
No, it was more just desperately trying to sort it out in seconds.
How do I figure this out?
Yeah.
So did you open the reserve?
No.
So
I thought I could land this thing. It was ripped, so it was open, but it was ripped. But you know what? We replay these moments, don't we? And I think, in a way, the hard time for me then was actually the rehab, because it's like, you know, you put so much confidence in your... For me, in my physicality, I was doing a job I loved, and that was a hard bit for me, those long months of
mentally
not much progress.
Yeah, was that really tough for you because of the type of person you are? When you have a setback like that, you know, it must sort of be difficult for you from a mental health perspective to be able to get your head around, OK, what does this mean for me and how do I deal with this?
Yeah, and, you know, people say, oh, you must be very positive to go from that to all the other stuff and the Everest climb. But actually it wasn't like that. It was a really stumbling, difficult journey where I felt like I'm going 2 paces back, inch forward, back. You know, I couldn't reach a bathroom without agonising pain. You know, I thought the chance of ever returning to any sort of job that was the job I loved at the time was gone.
Story. Have you ever jumped?
Rebuild it slowly, don't you? And
have you jumped out of a plane
day
since?
Day by day.
Well, people ask me that, and the answer is all the time. It's a huge part of my life now. It's a choice to embrace the difference.
So what was the next jump like? You must...
Well, the jumps are still horrendous now. I mean, you know, you ask our crew. I mean, I start almost every episode jumping out, and that's a choice. And every time there's a hand on my shoulder from one of the team, they know I find it hard, but I know in life the way through the fear, and it's not to run, it's to, like, face it.
Confront.
And it's not easy. I mean, you know, life isn't easy, full stop, and many people have stuff that's hard to do, but I've just learnt, and I've learnt it through running wild, I've learnt it through my job as chief scout. You know, the way for people to get over fears is go towards them. And that's a big part of the message of live show as well.
And actually, I think it's doing those things. I mean, I know you know about our 1 Million Minutes campaign, where it's trying to tackle loneliness, for people to donate minutes of their time to be able to help others, to make a difference. And there is a sort of real difficulty in mental health, and actually people doing things to take the steps to sort it out, isn't there?
Yeah, well, I think, as you know, there's more anxiety and fear than ever before, really. And I think Christmas, even though it's a happy time, you know, we're here.
Yeah, I love the jumper, yeah.
It's also a difficult time for many families, and there's a lot of loneliness, as you guys have spoken about. But, I mean, I think one of the things we've done recently is launched this men's mental health app called Mettle, that's trying to address that huge wave of society of you know, two-thirds of suicide is men, you know, and it's not that they have more pressures than women. It's not that. It's often, I think, women they're better resourced. They know how to deal with difficult things. They share stuff better. They're open about stuff. And I think
Men lock it in.
Men lock it in. So we're trying to speak to that a little bit.
I don't necessarily ask for help, and that's what's key, isn't it, in that? Someone you have been helping as well is Annabel Croft, I know, who's a friend of yours and did amazingly on Strictly. She had such an emotional journey, and I know that you were sort of giving her a bit of advice, weren't you, along the way?
Well, one thing I wasn't giving her is
not
advice.
dancing advice.
Yeah, that
resilience
I was not giving.
Advice, were you?
I'm not sure I was even doing that. She has resilience that none of us will know, and
What a journey she was on.
She's a
Wasn't
wonderful lady.
I bumped into her yesterday because she was on Lorraine yesterday with Rambo.
Yeah.
I had a little chat with her, and she's amazing. I mean, she really is extraordinary. She should have been in the final, shouldn't she?
She should have
Come
won
on.
it. To me, she's won it.
Yeah.
She's won it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, she was just fantastic. And has she given you advice to go on Strictly? What's happening with that?
I've learned in life, play to your strengths. Dancing is not one of them.
Come on. I thought you were all about...
You and me
about
both.
Tackling your fears,
It would be a
overcoming these
disaster,
things,
trust me.
doing
No,
challenges.
No.
All right. Very quickly, what's the name of the website again for mental health events?
Mettle, Mettle.
All right.
Resourcing men to be on the front foot of life.
OK. Well, we hope that helps anybody.
Great to see you. Thanks
Good to
very
see you,
much
mate.
for coming
Thanks a
in.
lot.